opening up with him.
Freak.
We're rolling with the same here. The big Hashim Amla, who have differed from the ICC, who've picked David Warner. Jeez. I can't lie, it's actually shit house from the ICC.
That pains me.
Outrageous. I'm actually mad.
That's outrageous.
I'm pissed off.
I'm definitely mad about that.
And
It's a miracle! Oh, yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli, Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle. Oh, the ball is close! He's given him! He's given him! Peter Siddle's got a hat-trick on his birthday!
welcome back to the On The Ball podcast. This is episode 97 of the show. We're actually approaching episode 100 pretty fast.
We're late into the nervous 90s.
Yeah, I actually need to think of something to do for it. Got no idea, but as you can see, and you can probably hear, we are... Actually, I don't know if you'd be able to hear it, but we're in person together for the first time. We've talked about this since like episode 30, but we're finally doing it today. It's obviously been tough with lockdown and COVID and stuff, but we're here today and we're here to talk about cricket once again. I think 3 cricket episodes on the trot, so we're back into our cricket mode. But today, late last year, back in 2020, the good old days, the ICC released their teams of the decade. Not quite sure why the decade is from 2011 to 2020. I think it should be 2010 to 2019, but
they've carked that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason for it, but there was a lot of chat about those teams, a lot of debate, so we thought we'd pitch in it on the topic. We made our teams of the decade last year, I think 2010 to 2019, but we didn't quite do an episode on it. I did one with Locke, my older brother, but today we're here to chat about it. So we're going to name our test team of the decade and our ODI team of the decade, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. But I reckon we get straight into it, mate. Test team of the decade will start us off. The opening batting pair. Don't think there's too much to talk about here. I think it's pretty easy, but who have you got?
Yep, so as you said, I think this was the easiest selection of the entire side. Cook and Warner, both bulk amount of runs. Cook had the most amount of runs out of any bat in the entire decade, and they both averaged high 40s, which was substantially more than any other decent opener in the conversation.
Yeah, we saw this last year when we did our team of the decades. It's probably the weak spot, you'd have to say, maybe next to the all-rounder and keeping slots. But yeah, these two are the clear standouts. Behind them, like, you are actually looking at some serious duds. Like, the fact that anyone else apart from these two would be in contention for the team of the decade is pretty embarrassing. But yeah, Cook and Warner are the clear options. Like, I don't even know who would be next, like Tom Latham or Dean Elgar or something. But
the names you've got on your screen there are quite disgusting after Cook and Warner.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be in 2020 or 2050. You wouldn't want to be looking back on this decade and seeing
that's chat.
Seeing Dinesh Karunaratne or Craig Brathwaite. But yeah, Cook and Warner will do this decade justice. Have to say Cook's average is a bit lower than you'd maybe think, but yeah, it's still going to do the job. And then Warner's is massive, but it's probably mainly just due to his Australian form, but we'll have to cop that in these slots. Warner, just some things I've got down here. Warner's currently the 5th top run scorer in the Test Championship. Obviously that only started back in 2019, so it's pretty recent, but thought I'd mention that. And Cook won Test Player of the Year. I think it was in like 2013 or 2014, but he won one of those awards, so understandable why he's in the side. Not quite my captain. Oh, is he your captain?
He's my captain. Bit of English bias there. Bit stiff on another man to come, but yeah, I've given him the skipper.
Yeah, he captained a lot of games, maybe the most of the decade. His win percentage wasn't great, but that's probably down to a lot of tests against Australia, a lot of tests against India, and he captained a pretty weak English team. But yeah, fair play. He's a very good leader. Obviously,
and a great bloke, ripping bloke.
Yeah, great bloke. We are big fans of the Cookie Dog. Obviously, the ICC team had Warner and Cook as well. Wasn't much to talk about there. Number 3, have you agreed with the ICC team here?
Not quite. I will say my stats that I've written down are actually from 2010 to 2020, so some of these might be slightly off, but I've gone with Kumar Sangakkara at number 3. As a pure batsman, the ICC selected him as a keeper, which was very questionable. but I've just put him in at number 3. Averaged over 60 from 2010 to 2020. For me, it was a clear standout choice over Cain Williamson.
Yeah, I went with Williamson. I agree with the ICC side. I haven't gotten too much down about him, but average of 53, scored over 5,000 runs. So for me, it was just the volume that made me tilt the hat to him. But it was very close with him and Sangakkara. I agree with you. Don't really know how Sangakkara got picked as a keeper, given the fact he only kept a couple games. But
apparently he kept 0.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard.
Jeez.
Which was
that's not pretty.
It's shocking.
Yeah, I don't really rate that from the ICC.
That is shocking.
But yeah, I've gone with Kano. He's in serious form right now, but obviously that's outside the window. But yeah, I think the 2 clear standouts. Some other guys worth mentioning, maybe Amla, Pajara, but even then, I think Williamson and Sangakkara are the standouts, and it's just which flavour you prefer, basically. I can't lie, I feel like I'm a bit harsh on Sangakkara. I didn't see too much of him because Sri Lanka never really came to Australia that often because they weren't that great, and I think I hold that against him, but I probably shouldn't because he was a classy batsman.
Yeah, he would have played a few more tests against your Bangladesh, Pakistan types, but
so does Kane Williamson.
That is true.
Bloody never
but
played.
No doubt they're both absolute weapons of the game.
Yeah,
both all-time greats.
It's a shame we couldn't get them both in our lineups, but you've picked Kumar, I've picked Kane. Moving forward, your middle order 4 and 5. Do you have an all-rounder at 6 or?
I've got an all-rounder, but not a 6.
All right, so we'll start with our 4 and 5. So our middle order, probably our big name batsman. I'm guessing. Who have you got at 4 and 5?
4 Smith, 5 Kohli. I think that was the exact same as the ICC team, and probably pretty standard. Smith, we all know how good he is in test matches, average of over 60, and Kohli the same, just an absolute weapon, match winner, averaging 54. So obvious choices for me. There were a couple others that had very high averages but not quite as much volume, such as Chanderpaul, but I've gone them too.
Yeah, there's not really much to talk about, is there, with these two? Absolute stars of the game, the 2 best test players of the decade, I think we can say pretty comfortably. Kohli, he's my captain. He had a 60% win rate as skipper, which is the most of the decade. Captained a few less games than the likes of Cook and stuff, but I thought that he deserved that. He's only won Test Player of the Year once, which is very small amount compared to some of his ODI accolades, but he's my number 4. And then Smith, he won Test Player of the Year twice, and I think they're no-brainers at 4 and 5. Don't think there's anyone else really in the conversation. Unlucky to miss out. Well, geez, I'm not even sure who would be next up. Maybe blokes like your Ross Taylors, your Joe Roots, they probably deserve a mention, but apart from that, it's not great. Yunus Khan, he could hold a stick.
Chanderpaul,
Clarkey, he was alright.
Chanderpaul, mammoth average in the time period, but just not enough runs, and a lot of yucky not outs.
Yeah, and a lot of you probably didn't play the top sides too often.
Yeah,
I think there's not much to talk about there with Smith and Kohli. Number 6, I've gone with my all-rounder. You've gone with your all-rounder at 7. We've picked the same bloke, and we've picked the same all-rounder as the ICC have picked. Ben Stokes, not really.
No-brainer.
Too difficult. Statistics can maybe bring up a conversation between him and Shakib Al Hussain, but Shakib, he played 35 tests, and I think like 25 of them were in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And his stats, they're alright, but just not enough volume.
Does have quite good stats actually, but
batting average of 44, pretty handy. But I'm going to go Stokesy just because of the volume. Yes, England do play a lot more tests than anyone else, but I think he's the clear standout here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Shakib, maybe if you played a few more tests against some better nations or overseas, I'd reconsider, but sorry, can't be picking you here.
Stokesy's got the unquantifiable things going for him as well, such as winning matches off literally his own bat and the ball as well. He's taken a few big fifers when his side's needed him too. So
yeah, exactly. So hard to not pick him, and also an absolute weapon of a
Of
fielder.
a bloke.
Of course he is.
And a great
Shocking bloke.
fielder.
Shocking bloke.
Shocking bloke. Well,
Yeah, we
Great bloke.
don't really know actually, do we? We're
I mean,
guessing.
he did king at someone outside.
Yeah, that's a touchy
nightclub.
subject, mate. Touchy subject.
But yeah, great bloke.
All right, keeper time. I've gone with the pretty lucky selection here at number 7. I've gone with BJ Watling. Who have you gone with your keeper?
We've gone differing policies here. I've gone with De Villiers. Definitely not the best keeper in the decade, but he did keep 22 matches from 2010 to 2020. I'm not sure about 2011, but averaged 57 with the stick. So I've put him in there to boost the batting line up. And I mean, he definitely could keep. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been keeping for them. So
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. I haven't picked him just because I preferred a bit of volume with the gloves. So that's led me to BJ. It was very close for this position. BJ Watling, Bairstow, Sarfaraz, De Kock, Pryor, and Mushfiqur Rahim. It was legit a coin toss between them all. And that's not saying much because they're all probably not worthy of being in a team of the decade. But
can't believe Bairstow's average is that high, to be honest.
Well, it's 37.
38. That's the same as Stokes' average, though.
Yeah, Stokes'
That's
average
surprising
is actually a lot lower than
Yeah.
I think,
But
but
I
it must
bet-
just be the start of his career.
Yeah, I bet if you did like the last 4 or 5 years, it would be your 40s.
Yeah, so I had to pick Watling there. Sorry, fellas. I think De Kock might be the best gloveman out of the lot there, but just not enough volume with the shtick. So I've gone with BJ Watling.
Yeah. I would have gone Watling as well if I was going for a out-and-out keeper.
Yeah, that's good to know, mate. Good to know. Why that sounds so like such a shit bloke.
Sound like a thrusting.
Have you gone with one spinner or 2 spinners?
I've gone one spinner.
All right. Who have you picked?
Well, I've kind of assumed this is not going to be played in Asia. I mean, the teams would be different if it was, but as my spinner, I've gone Nathan Lyon over the Asian boys like Herath and Ashwin, just because their averages outside of Asia aren't the best, and Gary Lyon does have the volume as well. Average of 31, not amazing, but I have selected him. It was tight though.
Yeah,
It was a tough choice.
I've gone with one of the Asia lads, similar to the ICC. I've picked Ravichandran Ashwin to be my number 8. At 365 wickets, so less wickets than Lyon, but a significantly better average and strike rate. But yeah, as you said, basically just depends where you want to play, because Ashwin, although in this Test series against Australia he's been bowling well, it's kind of the first time in a Western country he's looked somewhat dangerous.
Yeah.
Where Lyon, with his height and bounce, he's pretty good in like Australia, South Africa, England. So yeah, it's basically just wherever the match would be played, I think, between Lyon and Ashwin. But two good bowlers, 2 worthy recipients of this. Ashwin won Test Player of the Year in, I think it was like 2015 or something, which I did not know till about 20 minutes ago. So congrats to Ravichandran. But and he can also hold a shtick, but that didn't really come into my calculations. But yeah, here's my number 8, and you've got Gary Lyon, so you've got 3 quicks.
Gary Lyon, 3 quicks, indeed. Gary Lyon's my number 10. Have you got 3 quicks?
Yeah, they're actually very different to the team I picked last year. But I think there's one change, but
I think there might be one change for me here as well. I can't quite remember, but I'll kick us off. Dale Steyn was my first man on the team sheet. Average of 22, ridiculous strike rate. He and Anderson speak for themselves, I would have thought. Yeah. Thoughts?
I have not picked Dale Steyn. It's
bit of volume.
Yeah,
Question of volume.
Yeah, that was it. Like, I think I made an argument in one of the past episodes that Dale Steyn's like top 5 GOAT fast bowlers. But yeah, I actually didn't pick him. Just Jimmy and Broad had way too many wickets, but it is genuinely due to the fact that they played over 100 tests. So
yeah,
it was hard not to pick Steyn, as I am a Steyn diehard. And with that average, that's pretty silly. But Broad, I think his stats took a serious recovery operation in the last English summer. I don't remember what his stats were before, but I think that West Indies, like he took a 6
and
for him.
he had a good Ashes as well.
Yeah,
terrorising Warner.
So his average is down to 25, which I don't think it was.
That surprised me,
going
actually,
to it,
when I saw that.
Yeah, I've picked Stuart Broad over Stain. And then you've picked Rabada.
Yeah, I've gone with Rabada. It was out of Rabada and Cummins and Philander for me, but I went Rabada just because I picked him over Philander because I wanted a strike bowler. He's got a far better strike rate, and once the ball, gets 30, 40 overs old, he's going to be a much better option than Philander will. So I think he's a bit more versatile.
Yeah, no.
And still a great average, 23 and over 200 wickets.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I've gone with Philander though. Actually similar stat line to Stain, which is quite weird considering they are completely opposite bowlers. But I've gone with Philander, average of 22.32. It's pretty silly, and he has more wickets than Stain. But yeah, I see what you mean. He does bowl like 125, and as soon as it stops swinging, he's nothing more than a part-timer, really.
That's a bit
that is so savage. I've just picked him in my team of the decade and I've called him a part-timer. But yeah, he's my number 9, could also hold a shtick. Then Brody is my number 10, and yeah, as you mentioned, Jimmy Anderson.
Your tail will be wagging, mate. They can all bat. None of mine can bat.
What? Yeah,
I've got Rabada at 8.
Yeah, it's not pretty, but it's alright. You've got the GOAT batting lineup.
That's true.
So yeah, I've got Jimmy at number 11. Bit of a no-brainer there, especially coming from 2 English fans. But now onto the ODI side.
2 Jimmy fans as well, specifically. But yes, ODI. Wait, so how many differences did we have? Who'd the ICC pick as their bowlers?
So the ICC had Ashwin, Stain, Broad, Anderson. So a bit of a combo between ours. I think we got... Oh, you had 2 out of 4. I had 3 out of 4.
Yep.
I didn't have Stain, you didn't have Ashwin or Broad, but yeah. Now onto the ODIs. So opening up in the ODI side, mate, who are you rolling with here?
Firstly, Rohit Sharma.
Must have.
Very obvious choice here. No-brainer. Average of 58. That's actually insane. I had no idea it was that high. Once again, that might be a bit different to what you've got, as I've done 2010, but just an absolute freak. Pretty sure he's scored like 3 double tons in his ODI career. So yeah, just a weapon. No-brainer.
Yeah.
Speaks for himself.
And he can do it everywhere as well. But yeah, just before you enter your other opener, wrote down some stuff for Rohit because he is genuinely a contender for ODI Player of the Decade. He was in the team of the tournament in the 2019 World Cup as he was the top run scorer. He was the 4th top run scorer at the 2013 Champions Trophy, 2nd top run scorer at the 2017 Champions Trophy. He's made 5 appearances in the ODI Team of the Year throughout the decade, and he was the ODI Player of the Year in 2019. So he's an absolute big tournament fiend. He froths it, and I have so many memories of him just dicking Australia. I'm pretty sure he scored one of his double tons here. And it just looks so easy for him. So I think he's a must-have, and as I mentioned before, genuine contender for the ODI Player of the Decade.
Yeah.
Opening up with him,
Freak.
We're rolling with the same here. The big Hashim Amla, who've differed from the ICC, who've picked David Warner. Jeez. I can't lie, it's actually shit house from the ICC.
That pains me.
Amla has over 1,000 more runs at a higher average. The only thing is he has done it at a strike rate of like 7 runs less, which is not that big of a difference.
It's still a great strike rate, like for an opener, 87.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it.
That's
outrageous.
I'm actually mad.
That's outrageous.
I'm pissed off.
I'm definitely mad about that.
And Warner's a shit bloke. Yes, he's probably the best fielder, but shit bloke.
Yeah, Amla's a shit bloke. He's a better cricketer.
Well,
that's all that matters, mate.
Amla's a great bloke. Two appearances in the ODI Team of the Year throughout the decade for Hashim. Yeah, just volume of runs, a lot of 50s, a lot of hundreds, a lot more hundreds than Warner. Actually, only 3 more. I'm trying to find dirt on Warner here. But Hashim statistically deserves it over David Warner, if I'm honest. But Warner, can't lie, he's a pretty handy cricketer, but just don't think you can pick him over Hashim here.
Oh, don't get me wrong, mate. Warner can hold a stick, but I'm talking he's got nothing on Hashim in terms of the statics, bar strike rate.
So. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Number 3.
But we do hate Warner.
So. We do hate Warner. well, so don't take our Warner opinions seriously.
Yeah, so I reckon our middle order might be differing a bit here. I've gone with Kumar again at number 3. Once again, I did put my stats in as 2010 onwards. Had no idea they've picked it from 2011 onwards, but he still had quite a lot of runs at an average of 53. So, I mean, he was still an absolute weapon. I remember he absolutely dominated that World Cup in 2011. Might have been top scorer or close to it, but he definitely scored a couple of centuries. And yeah, it's just a god.
Yeah, fair play. Once again, I echo my statements of before about Sangakkara, definitely biased against him. But yeah, Kohli, you've got him later in your team, so I'm not going to abuse you. But yeah,
slid him down
he's pretty tough. Like if you had Sangakkara over Kohli and didn't have Kohli, I wouldn't have copped, but I'll cop you having him down the order. But yeah, Kohli nearly 9,000 runs at an average of 65, 3,300s. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, he's
about 100 every fourth innings, which is pretty silly. Almost a 50 every second match. Well, more than that actually if you look at his average, but a lot of not outs is there as well. And he's also my captain. He has a 70% win rate as captain in the decade. He was the 5th top run scorer in both the 2013 and 2017 Champions Trophy. 6 appearances in the ODI Team of the Year and 3-time ODI Player of the Year. So Kohli's a must-have in your team. And the ICC have him at number 3 as well. But yeah, once again, I've dogged Kumar, but yeah, I've explained my reasons. Sorry, Kumar. Hope you haven't lost respect for me, brother.
Sorry, Kumar.
Yeah, sorry, brother. Middle order time. Who are you rocking with at number 4 and 5?
Very biased for me at number 4, but I've gone with Joe Root. I just think he's a very underrated ODI cricketer. Every time I watch him, he anchors down the innings, and often when Roy and Bairstow kind of get out for nothing, he stays in and makes a ton. And his average is over 50 as well, so I've chucked him in at number 4.
Yeah.
There were a few other options, but
very fair selection. Like, I think he gets criticised in all formats for his lack of conversion, but if he's coming in at 3 or 4 and he's going to make like 60, 70 every second innings, it's pretty hard not to...
What's his conversion in ODIs? Is it still bad?
22 50s to 11 tons. So it's about average for a middle order batsman. But yeah, Kohli's is a lot higher, but Kohli's an absolute weapon. So yeah,
do you realise Kohli always bats at 3 in ODIs, to be honest?
Yeah.
I've got him down at 5, but
yeah, it's pretty hard.
The man can bat anywhere.
Pretty harsh for the GOAT.
Yeah, I'm not putting Root at number 5. He's got to be...
Yeah, Root's got to be 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, fair call. And who you've got Kohli at 5, obviously.
Kohli at 5, yep.
Is Kohli your skipper as well?
Did you have Root at 4?
No, Root's missed out for me, mate.
Oh, yeah. Kohli's my skipper.
Yeah, because sadly, most of Root's innings are at number 3, and I look at number 3 as a different position. So
yeah,
Kohli's dogged him there, but yeah. And also shout out to Cain Williamson. He has been dogged here. I think he was the captain of the tournament, like captain of the team of the tournament in 2019, and he also made the team of the tournament in 2015 in the World Cup. So shout out to him. Very solid number 3, number 4 bat in one days. But my middle order consisted of AB de Villiers. I've got him at number 4. De Villiers is kind of similar to Sangakkara with me in the fact that I think a lot of other people rate him a lot higher than I do, but pretty hard to argue with his stats in this decade, batting 4 or lower. He scored over 5,000 runs at an average of just under 62, and more impressively at a strike rate of nearly 110, which if you compare it to other blokes who specialise in this position, their strike rates are usually like low 80s, or a maximum in the 90s. So yeah, AB is my number 4. He was the 3rd top run scorer in the 2015 World Cup as well. 7 appearances in the ODI Team of the Year, which I think is the most of any player in this era. I think Dhoni has more than that, but a lot of them were in the past decade. And then 2-time ODI Player of the Year, which I didn't know was a thing, but fair play to AB de Villiers. And then number 5, this is probably a debatable selection. The top run scorer of any, out of all the people, I don't know how to phrase this, out of everyone who's batted at 4 or below. Ross Taylor is the top run scorer with just under 6,000 runs. I don't think he'd be picked in many of these teams, but I think he's one of the most underrated cricketers of this generation.
Yeah.
I think, especially in recent times, because of Cain Williamson, I think he goes under the radar. But even before Cain Williamson sprouted, Ross Taylor was always an ever-present weapon for New Zealand. Just averaging under 60, it's pretty incredible. His strike rate is a lot lower than the likes of A.B. de Villiers, but I still am happy to have him in my side, and he's made the ODI Team of the Year twice, so Ross Taylor is my number 5.
What's his average?
58.
Jeez.
So pretty silly. And do you have an all-rounder at number 6? Or do you,
I
do you
do.
have a keeper?
I've gone Shakib at 6. Probably should have put Dhoni at 6, but Shakib, great player. And I wanted 2 spinners. I think the 2 spinner dynamic works really well in one days. So I've gone Shakib, 38 with the bat, 30 with the ball, a lot of volume, and he's always been known as, in the top 3 all-rounders in the world for the last 10 years. So
yeah, this was a very tough decision for me. It came down to Shakib and the guy I've gone with, Angelo Matthews. It just in the end came down to whether I wanted a pace bowling all-rounder or a spinning all-rounder, but I picked 2 out-and-out spinners, so I didn't want to have a third, even though this isn't a real team. But anyway, I've gone with Angelo Matthews, another guy like Ross, not to the extent of Ross Taylor, but I don't think anyone actually knows who he is, but he has been an absolute weapon for Sri Lanka over time. He's scored over 5,000 runs, average of 43, which doesn't sound incredible, but compared to the other all-rounders, it's the best. Bowling, he's taken 93 wickets at an average of 34, nothing special there. Shakib's got better bowling figures than him, but batting at 6, thought I'd go Matthews over Shakib, but it was genuinely a 50-50, and it just came down to whether I picked one I can't speak today, man. One genuine spinner or 2 genuine spinners, and I picked 2, so Matthews copped the gig. So sorry Shakib, I've actually dogged him in both teams, but he can cop that.
He can definitely cop the test team.
Yeah, quick check with the ICC side. So far we got Sharma the same. They picked Warner. We let them know about that. Kohli, we both had them. De Villiers, you haven't picked, but I picked him.
Which is outrageous for me after you've just read out his stats.
Yeah, it's pretty bold.
But that's because I just love Joe Root. So
yeah, fair.
Stiff
Shakib, they've got him at 5. You've got him at 6. I don't have him. Stokes, they've picked 2 all-rounders, which I can't
What is going on with the ICC?
I don't cop Shakib batting at 5, to be honest, but I guess if you have that top 4, you probably won't ever get to Shakib, but Stokes at 7. Neither of us have picked Stokes, but keeper time, they have gone with MS Dhoni as captain keeper. I haven't quite given him the captaincy, but he's both our wicket keepers. And what do you think of MS Dhoni when you think of him?
Oh, just absolute weapon, and especially at one days, and his average with a bat is over 50, which is just ridiculous for a keeper. Probably half his innings resulted in him being not out, but he's always been known as the finisher. He's been known to come in, make tons to win games for his side. So we all know who he is. He's an absolute freak.
I can't lie, my memory's kind of been tainted by his antics.
By the last World Cup, that was shocking.
When he used to, it was like he genuinely was trying to set up close finishes, so he would just block it out till the 45th and then have a crack.
The one against England was genuinely looked like tanking.
Yeah, it was bizarre, but there's no real conversation here. Out of all the keepers, he's got a better average by about 8 than the next best. Butler, my other 2 contenders were Butler and Mushfiqur Rahim. Butler's got an average of only 40, but strike rate of 120. So
Butler's actually a bit of a weapon.
That's pretty saucy, and realistically, if you want someone coming in at number 7, like Butler, going at 120, there's a conversation to be had there. And then Mushfiqur Rahim's just a poor man's Dhoni.
But we know Dhoni can go at 120 if he...
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Right, so he's both our keepers. He made the ODI Team of the Year 8 times, 4 times in this decade. So he's not made it every year but 2. But I think between 2006 and 2016 he made it 8 times, something like that. Worthy of a keeper. He's captained the most games, but his win rate's not actually that good. So that's why I haven't given him the captaincy. And you haven't either. But yeah, ICC gave him the captaincy, but I think that's just some Donny love there. All right, bowlers time. They have only picked one spinner. I've picked two, and the spinner they picked is actually not one of my two, which is quite controversial. You have one spinner. Who have you picked as your spinner?
So I had Shakib in there as one spinner, and my other spinner is Rashid Khan. I've got him at number 8. He's last few years he's pretty much been top of the ICC ODI bowling rankings, average of 18, which is outrageous. I actually am struggling to believe that, because I watched him get absolutely destroyed by Morgan in the World Cup, but he must be a weapon. He probably plays against UAE, and that's
it. That's the only thing you have to say with Rashid Khan. I'm sure half his ODIs have been against Ireland and Scotland and UAE,
But we do know how good he is.
Against all levels of batsmen.
Yeah.
I know it's a different format, but we see it in the Big Bash.
I must say though, there were a few good options here. A few stiff blokes from my team here, but I went with Rashid.
Yeah, that's why I actually went with the 2 full-time spinners, because I was intending to only go one, but I was comparing the second and third spinners to my third pace bowling option. I thought I've got to reward the spinners because they're absolutely insane statistically. Rashid Khan made the ODI Team of the Year twice. Now this is very controversial, my second spinner, because he only played between 2011 and 2015 in this decade. And he also got suspended for chucking from 2015 onwards, and he never fixed his action because he couldn't be stuffed. But his stats are actually insane. And it's Saeed Ajmal.
Oh, yes.
I do have to say, I didn't watch too much of him, but I do remember in this time frame of 2013 to 2015, he was the world's best spinner. Yeah. He was an absolute freak. No one knew which way it was turning. Similar stats to Rashid Khan, really. 140 wickets at an average of 20. His strike rate was 29, so he basically averaged 2 wickets a match. Economy rate of 4 as well, which is, I actually think that's the best of anyone who's taken at least 50 wickets. And not much to really say apart from that. Just an absolute beast. Yes, it is controversial because, it's not like he match fixed or something. If someone match fixed and got banned for that, I probably wouldn't pick them. But if they deemed his action was legal during that time period and then banned him after, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But there is debate to be had whether he was throwing it the whole time. But
bit of a story with Ajmal. I was at some cricket camp in probably 2013. Brad Hodge came down. It was question time with Brad Hodge. So I said, "Who's the hardest bowler in the world to face right now?" And he said Saeed Ajmal. So there you go.
I think he was the real start of what they call the mystery spinner now. I think we see it in the Big Bash. Legit, every team has one. Yeah. But I think he was really one of the first. Him and Sunil Narayan probably. They kind of invented it. No one knew which way it was turning. So I had to pick him. And although he only played for 4 years, he actually played 78 matches, which is not even much less than a lot of the other players. Like Trent Bolt played 90 matches, which is kind of random. I don't know.
He was around for a bit more than that.
Yeah, I don't really know how he got that many matches racked up. He might have played before.
Oh, true. Yeah,
that's probably why.
Probably did,
but Saeed Ajmal, fair play, brother. Keep chucking it. Who are your 3 quicks?
Can't struggle to copy him just retiring when he got done with his action.
Yeah, weird. By the way, they picked Imran Tahir, who was, I believe, the top wicket taker in this period. But
worst average
out of the spinners. Worst average. His average was 24.
Still good though.
So it's pretty harsh. But he can cop. He's probably playing good teams as well, where Ajmal and Rashid Khan playing Bakers, but not really the biggest fan of Imran Tahir, if I'm honest. So he can cop.
That's stiff.
You seen his head?
I've said it's stiff, and you've come back with
celebrations.
It's even stiffer.
Relax, brother.
Shit bloke. He's a shit bloke.
Alright, who are your quicks?
Right, my quicks. Firstly, Mitchell Starc.
You've got to have him.
You've got to have him.
I don't like him, but you have to have him. He's an absolute weapon.
Yeah, I mean, just in the last 2 World Cups, he's just been probably the best player in the whole.
Yeah, he's been the top wicket taker in both.
He just takes fifers and he just bowls absolute Yorkers at 160 clicks. So but average is 22 in the decade. lot of wickets. So yeah, he was my first man on the team sheet.
Yeah, pretty hard not to pick him. He has 10 4-wicket plus hauls, which is the most out of anyone. Who
does like to clean up the tail.
Yeah, I do. That definitely needs to be said, and that's my main issue with Mitchell Starc. I don't think he actually bowls that well to the top order. But ODI, his test performances definitely affect my vision of him as an ODI player. But because he basically won Australia. Arguably both those. Well, the 2015 World Cup, they didn't win 2019. But yeah, him getting Brendan McCullum out in the first over of the 2015 final, that was game over. Everyone knew it. He knew it. Who are your other two quicks?
Two South Africans, DW Steyn and M. Morkel. Both averaged 24 with the ball. There are a couple more options here, but I don't know. These two stat sheets just stuck out a bit more to me.
Yeah, Morné Morkel was my third quick, but missed out, so he'll be running the drinks for me. But yeah, my second quick is Dale Steyn.
Very cool.
Dale R. Steyn's 2 ODI Team of the Year appearances. I think that's pretty stiff, but average of 23, 135 wickets, economy rate of 4.6, which is very impressive for a fast bowler, because as we see in the Big Bash, a lot of the blokes who bowl over 140 often tend to get whacked, and the same goes in ODIs, so for him not to get hit that much is very impressive. And yeah, fair play, Dale Steyn.
Indeed.
Looking at the ICC team, they went with Trent Boult. He was actually... he might have been my third quick, actually. Morkel might have been fourth, can't remember.
Boult was my next man.
Yeah, neither made it, but yeah, I love Trent Boult. And then they picked Malinga, who took the most wickets, but has a lot worse average than all the blokes we've talked about. Yeah. His average was just under 30, and he has an economy rate of 5.5, so volume, yes, but he's bowled way more overs than everyone else.
And shocking bloke.
Once again, I can't comment.
Have you seen his action?
Yeah, how does that make him a bad player? I respect him for being unique. But yeah, that's all we've got for you today. We were going to pick the T20 team, but we were a bit concerned about timing, and also I don't care about T20 cricket internationally. I don't mind watching the Big Bash in my spare time, but sorry to the likes of Boomer and stuff, you're not getting picked today. But yeah, first live potty done. Did you enjoy it, mate?
It was good to finally be in person.
Yeah.
We do see each other a lot, probably more than you would like.
Nah.
But nah. Good, better dynamic, I reckon.
Yeah, hopefully we have plenty more to come in terms of the live potties. Also, hopefully get some live ones going with some other people, but not sure if I'll be able to convince them.
You will.
Don't know why. It's just a weird proposition.
Kurt will come down.
Trying to come to my house to sit on an ironing board. But yeah, thanks for coming down, mate. Looking forward to future potties with you. Some more cricket stuff to come, and also other sports such as NFL. The NFL playoffs are underway starting this weekend, so we'll be addressing that.
For that.
Have you been watching much of the Test cricket at the moment? There's 3 series going on, about to be 4 series with England, Sri Lanka coming up.
Yeah. Little bits here and there. I've watched a bit of the New Zealand series.
Kane Williamson.
Low key.
Turned up again.
I love the man, but I'm actually getting a bit sick of him scoring 200 against
shit teams.
But
yeah, well, sorry, Pakistan.
But no, he's a weapon.
Yeah, no, I am getting sick of it. Like, do it somewhere good, but I'm sure as they are improving as a team, they'll start to get more opportunities because it's not really their choice who they have to play. Well, it probably is, but it's probably also down to Australia, India and England playing each other every year.
And I'm talking they're going to finish top of the trophy because they're just playing Sri Lanka and shit.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen, but so hopefully they start playing some good teams and we can see how good they are.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened overnight in the South Africa one, but South Africa rolled them for 140, but I know they got bowled out pretty quick.
Oh, mate, they were 1 for 140.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they collapsed the first session last night, but I haven't checked how it ended up. So that one might be interesting, but yeah, the first test in that series is a little bit messy, but yeah, anyway, I'm sure we'll chat about those series in the future. Probably won't actually, but yeah, thanks for listening. I've been absolute dribble this last 5 minutes, but really appreciate it, and yeah, on and upwards towards episode 100.